Do you know what the Simpson kids grew up to be 30 years later? As time flowed by like a tide, the Simpson children all grew up. Maggie became a rock star, but she suddenly found herself pregnant. When the smart robot asked who the father was, everyone around her chose to avoid the question. So Maggie had no choice but to return to her parents' home with a big baby bump. However, because of her pregnancy, staff prohibited her from using the teleportation gate, leaving her with no option but to take a traditional flight. By this time, the plane was in a state of disrepair, and the passengers were all from the lowest rungs of society. After a long and grueling journey, Maggie finally arrived in Springfield. As she took a taxi back to her parents' house, she suddenly felt a sharp pain in her abdomen. Seeing this, the driver immediately changed course and headed for the hospital. Upon arrival, a nurse prepared to administer anesthesia to Maggie, but the doctor stopped her because he had a more effective solution. Meanwhile, the classrooms at Springfield Elementary had been converted into apartments, and Bart had been living there for quite some time. When Skinner reminded him that he was 2 weeks behind on rent, Bart immediately claimed he'd scraped together the money but wouldn't receive it until next week after he sold his kidney. Only then did Skinner leave, satisfied. But shortly after Skinner left, Bart's son suddenly teleported in. Fortunately, his son hadn't inherited his IQ. Like Lisa, he'd been smart from a young age. When Bart asked where their mother had gone, the children immediately told him that mom was seeing a new boyfriend, which made Bart particularly sad. Lisa eventually married Milhouse, and they had a beautiful daughter, but she was rebellious. Her personality was very similar to Bart's when he was a child, which left Lisa quite confused. Whenever she saw her daughter's rebellious behavior, Lisa couldn't help but lose control.
Ugh, I am trying to deal with my disrespectful daughter, but you are too clueless to understand what that's like.